The Lord be with you. A reading from the Holy Gospel according to Matthew. When Jesus was born in Bethlehem of Judea, in the days of King Herod, behold, Magi from the east arrived in Jerusalem, saying, "Where is the newborn King of the Jews? We saw his star at his rising, and have come to do him homage." When King Herod heard this, he was greatly troubled, and all Jerusalem with him. Assembling all the chief priests and the scribes of the people, he inquired of them where the Christ was to be born. They say to him, "In Bethlehem of Judea, for thus it has been written through the prophet, and you, Bethlehem, land of Judah, are by no means least among the rulers of Judah, since from you shall come a ruler who is to shepherd my people Israel." Then Herod called the Magi secretly, and ascertaining from them the time of the star's appearance, he sent them to Bethlehem and said, "Go and search diligently for the child. When you found him, bring me word, that I too may go and do him homage." After their audience with the king, they set out. And behold, the star that they had seen at its rising preceded them, until it came and stopped over the place where the child was. They were overjoyed at seeing the star. And on entering the house, they saw the child with Mary, his mother. They prostrated themselves and did him homage. Then they opened their treasures and offered him gifts of gold, frankincense, and myrrh. And having been warned in a dream not to return to Herod, they departed for their country by another way. The Gospel of the Lord.
Good morning. Well, I've had an epiphany. Do you know what an epiphany is? I'll put it into terms for our younger people. When you watch those cartoons and all of a sudden the little rabbit gets a little exclamation point on over his head, emphasizing an epiphany, an awakening. We hear the word epiphany used numerous times in the scriptures. This is the great epiphany. And it all centers around the understanding that God has come not just for the Israelite community, but has come for all nations, for all people, all humanity. And the whole emphasis is about that. A lot of times you hear these people, I've heard homilies dealing with, about the star, and the star was here, and the star was Halley's Comet, or whatever. It has nothing to do with stars. It has nothing to do with a big light in the sky. It has all to do with an understanding of God has come for all people. And to be aware of that, so that when we think that we know, we look at this story, this message. I want to mention something about the story from Isaiah. Isaiah, and this is the latter part of Isaiah. You know by how I've told you before that the light is over here. I've told you that before that in Isaiah, he speaks to the people regarding when they went out to Babylon, and that now it's the latter part of the 60th chapter of Isaiah, and the people have returned to Jerusalem, and Jerusalem is a mess, practically destroyed and everything else. And in that, Jerusalem, Isaiah is talking to the city of Jerusalem, and he's saying, the world will come to Jerusalem. It will be built up even greater. It will be it's tremendous. The world will come here to learn about God. And then he proceeds to say, and they will bring frankincense and myrrh. And what do the three wise men bring? Those same things. That's why the passage is placed in there, because we see and understand that all of a sudden Isaiah is speaking exactly the same thing. Well, the world has come to Jerusalem. And where did the Magi come right away? To Jerusalem. And they called up the king, and they said, the king who should know all of this stuff, the Pharisees and scribes who should know all of this and be prepared and waiting for him. And of course, they said, we've come to see the newborn king. And they get all excited and they're thinking, what is this, huh? And they have to look in the books and look at the prophets and everything else. And oh, it's in Bethlehem. Duh. Where are they? Big warning to us who are Christians, good Catholic Christians. Are we following the Lord or thinking, oh, we know everything, and ignoring him? Very important statement. The other thing I want to mention to you is that, you know, that nativity scene out there we have in the vestibule area. Oh, good old Francis, St. Francis. He was the one who devised the nativity scene and everything else. But every time I talk about an awakening or an epiphany, if you read the passage correctly here, it says, the passage turns around and it says, the Magi, when they approached the house. Duh. Obviously, Jesus had been born. The family had moved into a home by then. And we know that Jesus may have been around 2 years old or younger when this occurs. Because what does Pilate do? He sends his army to kill all children 2 and under. And so you have this symbolism, that, you know, this nostalgia that we have the three wise men at the at the manger scene is not completely correct. Is that an epiphany for you all? Yeah. But it goes to show you that sometimes we get these things caught in our heads and we don't realize the real truth of them. And the real truth, of course, it's really not matter. It doesn't make any difference if it was the manger or a home or whatever. What is the importance of this passage and the celebration of this day is that the people recognized, not the Jewish people, not the people who should know, but people outside of those who would know. They were the ones who recognized. Those are the ones who saw and made homage to the Lord. And as a reminder to us all, we are all called to be alert. We are all called to have our eyes opened. Make certain that we see where God is leading us, not where we think we should go. Or what we've been, feel like, oh, okay, well, I know everything, and I'll just forget about it. Or lay it aside. We have to live that awareness of God's presence in our lives. And that goes right along with, by the way, today we have a seminarian with us. I forgot his name. I get so caught up in this epiphany. And it's Nathan Sullivan. He is in his third year, and within a couple months, he's going to be ordained a transitional deacon. And he's coming here to tell us a few things about his seminary life and ask you for money. Is that an epiphany? Okay. Nathaniel, whatever your name is. Okay.
Good morning. My name is Nathaniel Sullivan. I am a seminarian of the Diocese of Orlando, and I'm my third year of theology at St. Vincent de Paul Regional Seminary, my second to the last year of formation. So a little summary of my vocation story. I started really young. So I started in the Philippines in a high school seminary. You don't hear that anymore. High school seminary in the Philippines where I was born and raised. And I started at the tender young age of 12. And you would ask, how could a boy of 12 know that he wants to be a priest? Well, I didn't. My mom, out of nowhere, informed me that I am going to study in a high school seminary. And yes, it's informed because no consultation happened. And she didn't really give me any choice. She said, son, I'm not forcing you to be a priest. Just study there. It's a high school. And after, for college, study whatever you want. You see, like most parents, my mom wanted to give me a good Catholic upbringing. And so I did. I agreed, and it changed my life. I entered seminary. I'm not really a very prayerful boy growing up, but in seminary, we prayed every day. We went to Mass every day. It's a very intense schedule. And so little by little, I developed a personal relationship with God, such that nearing high school, when my mom had to ask me again, okay, what do you want to study for college? Because I'm not forcing you. And I said now, out of my own will, that I wanted to be a priest. And so that's how it all started. I went to college, seminary. I still left because I started really young. I left to work and I came back. And here I am. God willing, 4 months from now, I'll be ordained a transitional deacon. And I share that to all of you, parents, not because so that you can start forcing your kid to go to seminary, no, but just to make a point that God calls us very uniquely in different ways. And because God is God, there's literally no limits of how He can call us. Everything is okay. God will use everything that He wants to use, and so it's up to us to prayerfully listen and hear what God is telling us and how God is calling us in each and every story of our lives. And second, I'm here also, and like all the other seminarians of the diocese in different churches, in order to thank you personally for all the support that you've been giving to us, your seminarians. A lot of our studies is paid for by the diocese. It takes a lot. It takes long years. After high school, it takes an average of 8 years to study for the priesthood, and the diocese funds our education and gives us all the formation and training that we need so that in the future you could have good, holy, and capable priests that would serve you in your parishes. And so from the bottom of my heart, thank you so much for all your support that you give us. Most of that come from the Our Catholic Appeal, which I know you contribute to every year, and also this special collection that we're going to have today. So there are a couple of ways if you want to give. One, you could just drop it off in the boxes by the doors. Second, you could also use your envelopes, which you've received in your envelope packets. And third, you could also visit the diocese's website, www.orlandodiocese.org. And thank you very much, Church of the Holy Family, the community, and thank you, Father John, for giving me this opportunity to talk. God bless you.
That doesn't mean to say that your parents that have younger kids cannot start sending your kids to